Really big. I expect him to try and walk AJ down. I think this fight will be over in 6 rounds. I think it's going to be a war. I don't think Usyk wants to be walked down by AJ, wants to box off the back foot against aggressive Anthony Joshua. I expect him to be aggressive, and I think he's going to get knocked out.
I think both guys are going to step it up. I think we're going to have a different fight. The next fight with Usyk and Joshua. I think everybody's waiting for that fight to happen. They're going to see what kind of effects Usyk had having this war going on in his country. How does that affect you mentally? How is that going to affect him physically? So it's going to be an interesting fight.
I think it's I can only go back on what I've seen, excuse me, on their strengths and weaknesses, and I was quite surprised how easily Usyk handled him in the first fight. And it seemed to me he was boxing to orders. I mean, he was out there. He wasn't out there trying to take him out. And there was a couple of times in the fight, certainly in the last round, where I think he could have stopped him. And I think this time round, I think he will stop him. And this is not a rematch like he had with Ruiz, who trained in his larder. This fella is a complete athlete, Usyk. He's trained hard. He's in camp. He takes it seriously. So I think he's going to have his hands full. And he's not going to get any home advantage this time.
I'm not sure. It depends. I'm not sure. I think with Usyk, at the end of the 12th round, I think Joshua was really tired at the end. I think Usyk is not as big, but I think when it comes to stamina and boxing skills, he's a better fighter. So Joshua's going to have to negate that by somehow taking that play away from him, and that could be using his strength on the inside. He's the bigger guy, and he punches hard. So I think he has to make Usyk respect his power probably early on the fight.
Anthony Joshua has to use his. Everyone's already said it, but he's the bigger, stronger man. So if he can use them attributes, he can get the win. But first thing he needs to do before he gets in that ring is get his head sorted out. I've said he needs a brain transplant before, and people are like, what's he talking about? What I mean by that is he needs a totally different mindset, and maybe the change of trainer. And I don't think he should have left Rob McCracken, but this change might do him good because it might just reignite something and get him thinking differently and get him a little bit more aggressive. If he had Manny Stewart in his corner, maybe that would do the job. But obviously you can't have him in his corner. He needs to get his head right and start to believe in himself. Otherwise, it's going to go wrong for him.
Well, I think he just needs to go back to the old Anthony Joshua and take the risk, take the fight, use his size, use his advantage. Because he's got height and reach on him. Use it, but be aggressive at the same time. Show him what you got. And I think that's what he's gonna try to do. He says he wants to go back and hurt fighters. That's great mindset.
Not really, to be honest.
What chance do you give him?
Cat and Hell's chance.
Cat and Hell's
Tyson
chance.
Fury for life, brother!
How are you, Ty? You good?
I'm all good, mate.
Well, no, you never know with heavyweights. That's the thing with heavyweights. You never know. The one big punch, it can change the fight in your momentum. You're thinking, can Usyk deal with the size and take the power? But nothing really landed that heavy on him. He didn't look in trouble at all. He found his range really easy. Usyk's he's a class act. He fights like a middleweight in a heavyweight frame now, and he's the only heavyweight out there who can do that. There's no other heavyweight on the planet who can create the angles he does, who has his boxing brain, the boxing ability, the variety in the punches, he can vary his power. He was touching Joshua with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just touch him, touch, and then whip a big shot. You usually won't have that sort of time to get away with that behaviour at world level. You get a touch and you get whacked back, or the guy creates distance and defends, or counters somehow. But he could do that, and I think he will improve. It's only his third fight as a heavyweight, I think. So now he'll be supremely confident going into this fight. He travels well. He's been all over the world boxing, winning, beating people in their back garden. So I think he'll be a big favourite going into this fight, and I think he wins again.
Be a better fight this time. Be a better fight for AJ this time. But Usyk is in a Rubik's Cube. It's very complicated, and he's got power. Somebody just reminded me there. Everybody was saying about the first fight, oh, he's a small heavyweight, don't worry about it. Well, I did say at the time, I said, listen, he's not small. I've met Usyk, 6'4", probably nearing on 6'5" actually. He's a big guy, he is, and a 16 stone man carrying no body fat at all, trained to death, and a naturally good box fighter. It's a difficult man to beat. And that's why he's where he is, isn't he? Joshua's got it all to do, but he knows what he's been in now. He knows what it's about. He's got trainers with him, whether that assists. But the only man who can beat this fella is Joshua himself. He's got to believe in himself, change up his tactics tenfold.
Yeah, listen, I mean, like, make it, you know, he's going to have to make it a competitive fight early on. He's going to have to get straight in on him. He can't stand back, can't try and play jab for jab or try and keep the distance on him. He's going to have to get in, get physical on him, a bit like Chris Billam-Smith did with Isaac Chamberlain. Get straight in on him, tire him out. Don't necessarily have to punch in there. Lean on him, pull him, use your physical weight. Derek Chisora was able to do that, but the problem with that is it became very samey. It's very repetitive with Derek, whereas AJ, after 4 or 5 rounds, can then start using his great attributes like his feet and his speed and his combinations. Easier said than done. I'm sitting here, you know, on a bench saying it. I'm not getting hit by a 17, 16 stone man, and Usyk, a southpaw with great distance control, great angles, and great variation of punches. So. But if you're going to do it, you've got to go and give it your all. And I think he has, you know, he has to do that. He has to give it his all.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think Joshua knocks him out with one shot. Wouldn't surprise me at any point. He can punch. He's dangerous. Usyk is a naturally smaller man. I think Usyk wins. I think he'll win by stoppage. I think Garcia will send Joshua out there aggressive. I think that'll be his undoing. He'll walk onto something.
Usyk and AJ. Oh, Usyk and AJ. Yeah, that's an interesting, intriguing fight. I mean, it'd be good if AJ beats him again, but it's a big ask because Usyk's such a skillful fighter, and he seems to be in good shape. They both had good training camps, and Joshua's obviously making the adjustment with Garcia, and hopefully he can then use that what he's learned in the fight. And it's interesting to see which way it will go, if it's going to be a repeat or revenge.
Who do you edge towards in the rematch?
It's a tough one. Like, I'd say probably Usyk again will probably get the victory, but I'm not writing off AJ because he's got a puncher's chance and he's got a big punch.
He didn't win all the belts. He won 3 versions of the WBA, the WBO and the IBF. He hasn't got the WBC title. Tyson Fury's got that. So I think he's a bit sore with the response to the fight with Usyk. And he's got a very good trainer in Robert Garcia who doesn't tolerate any bullshit, and it'll be hard work. And I know that he done extensive sort of technical sparring before the last fight, which was just a mistake. I don't adhere to that methodology at all. I think it's rubbish. So Garcia will have him, having very flat out sparring sessions. He'll get him in great shape. But it's so much of it is in Joshua's head. He's got to be able to confront this guy. He cannot stand off Usyk again and hope to outbox him. He's got to walk him down, and I know that's risky, but he's got to take the chance. He's got to walk him down. He's got to put him under pressure. He's got to manhandle him at close range, and he's got to let it go. Let those shots go. Everything aimed for the chest. Walk him down and stay on him, and get the job done. And if he doesn't, there's going to be question marks then.
Must rate him because he tried a lot of trainers, so he's picked him out as the one he thinks is going to be the key to defeating Usyk, so he must rate him. I don't know enough about Robert Garcia, and those fighters have got a certain type of style, rough, aggressive, up close fighters, off the top of my head. And if he can bring that out in Joshua, then he's got a better chance than he had in the first fight, because he tried to outbox the #1 boxer on the planet, an absolute, the Olympic style boxing. No one's beaten Usyk at that. You've got to bring something different, and that's what he may be able to bring. He's going to have to get dirty. He's going to have to get close and dirty and make it rough for Usyk. And he's picked Garcia as the man, but time will tell.
Tough fight again. Obviously, we've seen what happened in the first, but I think AJ's out for revenge, man. I think he's going to learn from the first fight. He'll have trained harder, and I think AJ will win pretty comfortably with a knockout.
It looks like he's punching so hard. Looks like he's retained the hand speed, even though he's increased in size. It's a very difficult night for AJ, and I don't say this because it's AJ or anybody else that Usyk might be fighting. I honestly don't think Usyk can be beaten. I just think he's a master. Until he is beaten or I'm proved otherwise, I just think he's unbeatable right now. I really do. So I think it's going to be a tough task for AJ, but you can't completely rule him out. He's going to be naturally bigger. When I say naturally, he's going to be a lot closer in weight, I would have thought, Usyk, but he's naturally bigger, AJ. He's wearing 10-ounce gloves, obviously, and if he catches Usyk on the right spot, he's got every chance he can knock him out. But I think Usyk wins this one. But I will say I hope I'm wrong, because I like AJ and I'm a big fan of him and what he's done for British boxing.
I think probably pushing him back more, and everyone's saying that it's common knowledge just to be more aggressive. Really, the last fight, it looked like he was trying to outbox him, but Usyk is he's an amateur world champion, multiple titles, so he's going to be really difficult to do that against. So pushing him back and probably going back to the old AJ of just destruction and destroying, but we'll see. It should be interesting whether or not he wins or not.
Obviously it's an hard fight for Anthony Joshua after how the first fight went, and it's just what changes can be made with AJ. I know he's since announced he's working full time with Angel Fernandez, and that's it. Listen, there's no denying, I think you've got to make Usyk a favourite after the style in which he won last time, but with someone, the athleticism, can't say it, and size, natural size advantage and power that AJ carries, it's going to be exciting to watch.
He's taking it very serious. He started a training camp before he was due to start a training camp, so I know he's taking it serious. I know he's changing his mindset and the things he's doing. I think he goes in there and gets a KO. Yeah. I mean, for me, when I looked at it, he hardly landed a shot on him last time, but Usyk's face was bust up. He's got to go in there and just throw. Whether he landed on his hands, his guard, his elbows, his arms, just hit him. Big, strong guy like that, just punch.
Listen, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be back here. Right now, Alexander's just holding the belt. I'm not bothered about that.
You know what? Anthony Joshua does need a trainer like Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia knows the ins and outs of the sport. So I think Robert Garcia is a big key for Anthony Joshua. Most of all, sometimes the physical part is there. AJ is a strong fighter with a lot of power. He's a big boy. He can hit. He has the tools. Now it's that moment where Robert comes in the psychological part, and he's gonna have to push him and tell him, go get it. What you have to do is have no respect for Usyk. You gotta go get it. You gotta go in there and grab your balls and go get him. I mean, you have everything in your power to come out victorious. All you have to do is go get Usyk. If you give Usyk distance and space, he'll break you. But if you go get him, I think the size, Joshua's size, is a big factor. He hits. He needs to go look for him and have no respect. Go get him. He'll hurt him because he has the power. He has the tool.
Very big fight. I hope Joshua wins. I think he deserves that fight. I think he's gonna be different in this fight. He's gonna change completely his mindset. He's gonna go to knock out Usyk, because you cannot outbox Usyk. And I hope I'm with Joshua, of course. I hope he wins.
I really very excited to see AJ how he doing for the next fight, because he with Robert Garcia, and I believe Robert Garcia is a great trainer, and I believe if AJ can follow Robert Garcia guidance, he can do a very, very beautiful win. But as you say, boxing, anything can happen. One punch change all the situation, and you have good plan until you get hit. That's it.
What is your thoughts on that fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua? What do you actually believe will happen on August 20th?
No, if you look the number, Usyk is a bit favor, but I believe AJ can turn this thing over if AJ can follow the Robert Garcia guidance. This is my point. So I can say 50-50. 50-50 is my prediction. Can go to either way. Usyk, he won once, and everybody knows he's a super fighter. He's amazing for his weight class. How flexible. It's a similar Lomachenko, no? They come in the same route. They come in same trainer. So. But AJ is a great fighter. AJ is a great fighter. Sometimes fighter, fell down for so many reasons. Sometimes it's not because of the training. Sometimes it's because of the ghost around them, the environment, many things. I've been with many champions. I seen them rise. I see them fall, and always same thing.
Come on, AJ. Hopefully he does the business. It's better for boxing if he does it. Yeah, man, it looks like he's taking it way more serious. It looks like a different AJ going into this fight. He can definitely do it. I think everyone's writing him off. He can definitely do it. He was catching Usyk in the first fight. So it's not like Usyk's untouchable. Tremendous fight Usyk is, though. You can't take nothing from him, but he's human at the end of the day.
Fancy an Usyk win again. I picked Usyk to win the first one, and he proved that right. And obviously everyone's saying AJ needs to adapt and go forward. I think if he goes forward, Usyk will just adapt and more than likely hurt him and put him down. I know he wobbled him last time, so and AJ coming onto him, Usyk's obviously one of the best gifted, superior technical boxers we've seen in recent years. So I believe that he'll just adapt and pick up the win again.
Look, I mean, obviously, anytime there's a first fight, it's hard to pick against the winner, I guess. But AJ's a friend of mine. He's a British boxing legend for what he's done in the sport in his career. No matter how you chop it up, win, lose or draw, he's captivated a massive, widespread audience and brought massive numbers and attention to the sport. I want him to win. I hope he wins. Usyk, a fantastic fighter, always has been. Ever since I've known about boxing, I've known who Usyk is and that he's one of the best fighters in the world. As an amateur, he used to go up cruiserweight, from cruiserweight up to heavyweight at a canter, qualify for the Olympics at heavyweight, and then come down to cruiserweight and go in at that weight. Like, if you asked me when Anthony Joshua and Usyk was an amateur, if they was to fight, who would have won? I probably would have backed Usyk. So him losing to him as a pro for, world titles and that, it's not a slight. How people can start making really out there and, broad stroke comments over that. He fought against an elite fighter. Probably as elite as you can get. Usyk is that good. So what? And it weren't, he lost the first fight in my opinion, I was there. But it weren't 12-0. It weren't like he got absolutely, he had his success. And if he works on why he had the success before and exaggerates that and minimises the time where he was getting caught up with, then who knows how the rounds? It's 3 minutes constantly, 12 times. You don't know what's going to happen, but I'm rooting for AJ and the whole team. I hope Robert Garcia becomes the best trainer in the world, so when I fight Bam Rodriguez, there's another 150, 250 on the other side, but me and Frank will talk about that later.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's Usyk what he has to do. People are treating this, it's just like he's fighting Andy Ruiz, who's going to net himself. We're dealing with Usyk, who's like one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Do you not think Usyk's got to go away and improve and work out what AJ's got to try and do and everything else? So people forget, I think it was even round 1, Usyk walked up and hit Joshua with a big shot. I think round 3 he had Joshua legs wobbled already, and I just think it was at any moment if Usyk really wanted to, he could have put his foot to the floor. There was still more from him to come, and I think we'll see this in this fight. Listen, Joshua is going back in there, he's trying to do what he can, the best way that he can, and that's throwing bombs. and that's what Anthony Joshua's got to do. He's not got to win the fight by outboxing him, and I think Oleksandr Uysk has done what he's done as always as an amateur. He's fought the best in the world on a regular basis, and when he turned professional, he carried on doing that in other fighters' back gardens, where some of ours build careers, touches here and there, where Usyk has always kept his tools sharpened, do you understand? And I think that may be the difference, but you cannot deny the hunger, the appetite, the wanting to self-improve, the move from McCracken. I personally don't think it should have happened. I think when it's McCracken and Froch, you see what different. It was McCracken, it was AJ. It's just a shame, but AJ moves on. We'll only know August the 21st if it was the right move or not.
Yeah, I think it's a massive ask for AJ, but I do think if he gets it right, if he gets it right, he's definitely in with a chance of winning, a good chance. I think it was clear he got it very wrong the first time round, where he tried boxing the boxer, and I think you've got to treat the second one as a bit of a different fight, where you've got an aggressive AJ coming forward. So I think, like you say, it could work both ways, where he could walk onto something by being too aggressive, but you've got to get it right to have a chance. But if he does get it right, I do think he could do it.
Yeah, it's a difficult fight. He's obviously felt how difficult that fight was. I feel the game plan was completely wrong the first time. Sometimes you have to accept where you are inferior at, and that is boxing skill with regards to Usyk. So I think it's like, you know, some people you can be like, you know, I think my skill's going to be better. You know, you can kind of push yourself. But with somebody that has that kind of experience, his coach should have said, yeah, it's not going to be a boxing fight. It's going to be rough, and you got to make it ugly. It's going to be, you got to be in his face, in the pocket. Use your athleticism, use your size, use your power, and he needs to do that this time. He needs to go forward trying to get a knockout.
Usyk. I think Usyk has got the number, but I've got to shoot. Love to box and social, but yeah, Usyk's my prediction.